Welcome to another episode of The Silicon Dreams on Radio Zindagi 1170 AM. With me in the studio today, I have Kezheng and I have Joey Kong. And what we are going to do is we are going to cover investments and investment trends in the world of Web3. This is your show host, Soniya Ahuja, founder and CEO of Orbis 86, where we are onboarding with the power of AI the next million people into Web3. Without further ado, let's get into our conversations for today. I'm going to first go to our guests and ask them to introduce themselves to our lovely audience listening to the Web3 Pulse by the Silicon Dreams on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM. Hey KJ, welcome to the show. Why don't you go ahead and introduce our audience to you and also talk about what you're working on in this wild west world of Web3.
Okay, this is amazing. Thank you, Sonia. And I'm so honored to be here today. And this is my first time on air, and it's the experience very different. My name is KJ. I'm the founding partner from Onepiece Labs. We are an early stage Web3 fund, venture capital, and incubator, and a community based in the Bay Area. So our job is to, making investments and help founders to grow. And the very, very recent update from us is we're gonna launch our upcoming incubator in August. I can share more later, but now I can pass to the other guys.
Hey Joey, welcome to the Silicon Dreams on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM.
Sure, it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm a co-founder, also the manager partner of Langrenus Fund. We are 10 months. We start from the family offices and team up with two other co-founders, from Web2 industry. And I can run into this, crypto and blockchain rabbit hole back in late 2018. Started my career at OKX Ventures, followed by 5 years in JP Morgan. Come from a TradeFi, I definitely see big potential growing the Web3 industry, and happy to be here.
Welcome, Joey. Welcome, KJ. Guys, both Joey and KJ have years of experience in Web3, have seen the crests and the troughs in the world of Web3, because as we know, cryptocurrency, NFTs, they have seen quite the ups and downs. So we have two seasoned speakers with us here joining us as guests in the studio. So we are definitely going to leverage their experience and talk to them about what is happening and what are the trends that they see that would be rocking the world of Web3 in the next 5 to 10 years. So KJ, let me start with you. You said you have an upcoming incubator, your second batch for the Onepiece Labs incubator launching in July. Is that right?
Actually, third batch.
The third batch, right? So what is going to be the theme? And I believe that theme will dictate what your investment thesis are also about.
That's right. So we have done the first two batches things last year, and it went really well. And this time we want to do something more and a little bit different. Say this time we're going to work together with another layer one, which is SEI together. So compared to the previous batches, I only, work with the founders myself. This time we have the ecosystem supporters, the layer one, come in. We're going to work together, provide better resources for our founders and help them to grow. And also for the curriculum, it's a little bit different. We used to do a lot of lectures, public speaking, things like that. People love it, but it's a little bit too much because everybody has different problems. So this time we also have a mentor program, to solve the individual problems. So anyway, so no matter what we do, the only goal is to help Web3 early founders to grow and survive during the bear market for sure.
Amazing. So say it's another layer one, a new layer one, and I believe they are well funded. They have been making the waves. You see them, if you are following crypto, you see them in news. In terms of the focus for this next batch, are you focusing on something in particular? Are you focusing on people who are building infrastructure? Or are you focusing on maybe Web3 games. Do you have any such focus areas?
Yeah, very good question. So we are going to focus on 3 subjects. The first is GameFi, and the second is SocialFi, and third is Web3 plus AI. So the common things for those 3 subjects, because they all could bring the real traffic from Web 2 to Web 3. So actually, there's a story. So I was like debating with another friend from AI all the time, say, oh, why is Web 3, why is AI, why AI so hot? So there's one thing I cannot beat him. He said, the AI has a real use case. Like he asked me, KJ, do you use ChatGPT every day? I answer yes. I use ChatGPT every day. I kind of like don't need interns for the summer because I have ChatGPT. So this is the real use case. What about Web 3? There's a lot of good things about Web3, but there's not one thing everybody can use it every day. So that's why I'm thinking, so maybe SocialFi, maybe GameFi, maybe something, like the combination between the Web3 and AI can become a real use case. People like Web3 native or Web2, like my parents, they can actually use it every day.
That's actually a great point that you made here, right? Like, what are those use cases that will impact people in their day-to-day lives? We have to focus on those because it's through those use cases that we can bring in the next billion people into Web3. With that being said, Joey, Langrenus Fund, do you want to actually start off with your story? How did you come about founding a fund of your own, and then talk to us about your investment thesis?
Yeah, I come from like a finance background, and through the early years after my graduations, I've been all like focusing on primary market, secondary market trading, equity research, and I always define myself like a finance guy, and like to cooperate with people, from a product or a tech background, and luckily I got those 2 last year, and they were like, they kind of like thinking that Web3 is a big opportunity to enter, and even though it is like almost cradle winter, they still have the face like I do. So we just thought it'd be cool that if I can just start our own venture studio and just like grow this long healthy relationship with our co-hosts, like those of portfolio companies. And we've been investing since July last year, and we have done like 10 deals, including 2 in AI region, and we're excited to see more, founders in AI and Web3. I guess we're focusing on like all verticals in those 2 regions, and nothing particular. We would not look at it, but as for this time frame, we want to be focusing on more like Web3 games, some like generative AI, applications, and some of the infrastructure and DeFi.
Amazing. So it seems like both of you definitely have those overlapping focus areas, right, where you spoke about GameFi and then you also spoke about Web3 and AI. Maybe before we proceed ahead, I want to quickly ask the 2 of you, in the past couple of months, right, because as Joey just pointed out, I don't know if it's almost crypto winter or it is crypto winter. Things definitely feel grim. You also feel the pressure of the regulations that have been closing in on everyone, and there would be something good that comes out of it, but at the moment things are in murky waters. Now, that being said, KJ and Joey, what I would love to hear from you is, in the past couple of months, right, like literally your most recent investments, if you could share any details about the companies that you invested in, the most recent 1 or 2 investments, that would also help the audience and also the Web3 natives understand what are investors looking at. So maybe, Joey, you could go with this first and talk to us about your last investment or the last 2 investments and what are those companies working on. And from your perspective, why did you bet on those founders and those companies?
Yeah, that's a definitely good question. I don't want to share too much about our portfolio companies, but I definitely want to go into deep just to give you, a perspective about our thesis. I think as like early investors, we're only focusing on pre-seed and seed, with the check size varies from 50K to 500K. The early founders are the key towards the success. I mean, many people have the ideas, but ideas are cheap. And I think they have to build up at least some MVP for us. I mean, even like illustrate some demo days that to prove the point that they can build something great in the future. And if they choose the separate factors that are like too competitive, they have to have like at least 2 to 4 different features that we don't see in other products. And they have to be like fully commitment, have this vision to go somewhere. And through the talks with founders and through the years that we've been know them, like at least for Web3, like sector, we've been doing this for like almost 5 years. So we have to build these connections and resources worldwide. So we have a great deal of deal sourcing platform and a lot of deal flow share with other VCs along the years. We think it's be great even if we are in this crypto winter, we can still see some improvements, and hopefully we'll see them grow in next bull run. And to answer your questions, I want to point out like one for each. The recent Web3 products we invest called VE-DAO. It is considered as data aggregator, media platform, and also a launchpad. Like if you go into any of those like vertical, you would see it's like too narrow. It's like already too like way too competitive. So when you see something like way too competitive, and I think the solution is not to like build something inside this vertical. Rather, you just take out the outcomes because it's already too competitive, and you build something like one step forward. That's the key. So for Web3, we see like so many builders like traveling around the world, like pitching to the investors to sell their stories over and over again. And we just don't see the efficiency out of it. So do we think it'd be cool if we build this platform where the builders can just concentrate on their products, and later on, once they feel like it's go-to-marketing moment, they can just kick off. You can just show their brand. You can just put their products there, and also their platforms would generate this like real-time on-chain data parsing, whereas you can see all the like real-time indicators that could show these products can be really great. And another product in AI is like it is actually very simple. If you tell a storyline, like I don't know if you have kids or if you have young guys.
I'm sure our listeners have kids. They can relate.
Yeah, I mean, like they wanna, like they don't read books, right? Like, I mean, those people like after, I don't know, 2010 or 2015 born was, they only want to watch the videos, right? So if you tell them like 4 or 5 sentences to describe a story and use generative AI, you can create like a video out of it. And we think it'd be pretty cool because animated videos can represent the future. So I think by just input those words or voice messages in what ways and generate like lively like animated videos could be something exciting to see the future. So those are the 2 projects we recently got deeply involved, invested, and
that you're working on. I believe that video content has been what has transformed the last decade. We have seen video content being consumed every single day. I quite often talk about how TikTok started their journey in 2018 and have already crossed over 1 billion users. We are much behind in Web3 compared to that, but that also shows to you the strength of video messages. And we normally say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video has at least 24 pictures in a single second, so definitely worth a few thousand words. With that being said, KJ, I'll come to you. So, Joey, thanks for talking to us about the platform for investment indicators that you invested in, as well as the story building platform.
Happy to.
And KJ, your last investment or the last 2 investments, what was the selling point? What made you bet on those?
Yeah, totally. I can share 2 projects that I can, share the name and what they do and why I want it. I made the decision to make the investments. So the first project is called Sparrow Swap. Actually, they are the decentralized exchange. Actually, the largest decentralized exchange on SEI. So I made the decision not only because I'm like a big fan of SEI. Actually, there's a couple more other reasons. So first of all, there's a lot of referrals. So when I talk to different like Web3, investor connections in the space, and I mentioned about this project, people just put good words on the founders. So this is a very, very good sign I'm looking at. And second, so if you are in the space, the DEX is very important, to the chain, and usually the DEX work closely with the chain people. So I also talked to the founder of SEI, Jeff, and also I talked to the rest of the team, their head of growth, head of marketing. I just do the due diligence and say how good is the team? Do you work close together? Like, do you like them? Like as a person, whatever. And I always get like very good feedbacks. I can tell this team is really connected in the space and very good personality and willing to work, and it's amazing. And during the meetings, I ask like tough questions, regular questions, give like tasks, and let them to do more research, and there's more improvement. All the things like that, they show like a huge execution skills. So this is like a big plus, for, like me making a investment decision. So Sparrow Swap is totally a very good investment I made like last month. I think that's one. And also there's another one, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's Web3 plus AI. The name of project is called Path Integral, but actually they use the product name called TXYZ.ai on ChatGPT. They built a plugin on ChatGPT, and they were the first batch of the 200 plugin. You can find them right now on the ChatGPT. So what they do is they in the design industry. So they let me put it this way. So ChatGPT can summarize some news or regular paper, but when it means the like a very academic research paper, it has a problem. So they actually use their own algorithm to better summarize and do research on the research papers. So that's what they do. And that's the AI part. The Web3 part is they're going to build like tokenomics. They want to connect the universities, professors, researchers, students, PhDs, whatever, even the high school student, they need to do research, right? So they want to use the tokenomics to connect everybody and, provide like a very efficient and healthy reward system to make the whole flow running smoothly. So this is second project. So the reason I want to invest in this project, not because the AI is a buzzword, right? I think it has a real use case. I consulted many PhD candidates, and they feel, they usually spend 15 days to read a paper. And after all, they feel, oh, damn, I didn't learn anything from the paper, or it's not a good thing I need to rate. So, or I have to rate 2, 3, 5 papers. I need to do the comparison. By the work from the Path Integral, it makes everything much, much easier. So there's a real use case, not for everybody, but for the researchers, right? And the second, the founder of this project is research influencer. He's an influencer, but not like the entertainment part. It's a research part, and he himself has more than 10,000 million followers. More than 10 million followers on all the medias. So he can really, help himself to promote the product himself, and also he recruit like very good teams all over the world, help him together to build the product. So I think the execution and the go-to-market strategy and the use cases, and they solve the real problem and execution, I think those things just really, make me, just make quick decision on making investments.
Thank you, KJ, and thanks for sharing your perspective. It seems like a lot of your investment decisions are also obviously influenced by what investors traditionally look for in founders and the projects that they are building, that they're betting on, right? The founders, they need to have a sound go-to-market strategy. There has to be a viable business model in place, but also the team themselves, right? We normally say that investors look for the A team, and the A team is more important than even the product itself. Now, you touched upon two products. So one was Sparrow Swap and the other was Integral, Path Integral.
Yeah.
What I would like to do is, just for the sake of the audience that may not know what DEXs are and what swapping is, would you take a few minutes to just introduce the audience to this world of decentralized exchanges? What is it? Why is it important for a chain? And why does it matter to anyone listening into the show today?
Sure. I try my best to step on anybody's toes. There's like two kinds of exchange, right? The centralized exchange and decentralized exchange. So what we usually do, at the very beginning, we use the centralized exchange. So big names you have heard, say Coinbase, Binance, OKX, that's like centralized exchange. They're good. I mean, very convenient, very efficient. And I use it myself, like many years ago.
I use it too.
Yeah. That's like good exchange and good service, good UI UX. Everything's great. But the only problem is you don't own those cryptos. If you bought one Bitcoin on any of those like centralized exchange, it's great. For the most of time, you can sell it. But some situation, for example, like, FTX, you just cannot sell it. You cannot take your money away because it's centralized. So right now, I highly suggest all my friends, everybody should use the decentralized exchange because that's your key. You own the crypto and you can move it and you can transfer it anytime you want it. So this is the difference between centralized and decentralized. Convenient, a little bit trouble for using it, but on the other side, you own the crypto you have, and the DEX, right? I mentioned the Sparrow Swap, so they are the DEX. There's the decentralized one. So if you want to trade cryptos on Say and using Sparrow Swap, so you own the crypto, you can transfer it, hold it anytime you want.
For the benefit of the audience, it might be worth mentioning that today, if you want to convert your fiat to crypto, and by fiat, folks who are listening into the Silicon Dreams on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM, in the world of Web3, when you talk about fiat currencies, you're referring to sovereign currencies like the US dollars or the pounds or the euros or the Indian rupees. So the centralized exchanges actually make that process, swapping from fiat currencies to cryptocurrencies, really easy. They do make money from fees that they charge in terms of the exchange that's being done. And after that, what you could do is take the crypto that you have and from a centralized exchange, move it to your own wallet and then use it on a decentralized exchange. So this is what we're referring to. From what I understand, today we don't actually have a lot of decentralized exchanges that make the swapping between crypto and fiat and vice versa easy for the first timers. Most of the decentralized exchanges exist for cryptocurrencies. So you still need to use centralized exchanges, but given the regulatory scenario, given the fact that we have seen exchanges like FTX collapse, Celsius collapse, and in the good old days, we also had Mt. Gox, which led to Bitcoin tumbling, and this was almost a decade back. But with those examples, it's probably best to leverage the centralized exchanges to swap your crypto and fiat currencies. But as soon as you're done with those swap, you should probably move it to your own personal wallets. And we can talk about wallet security in a completely different segment because that's another topic, a behemoth beast in itself. But with that being said, while we are on the topic of exchanges, I'm going to go to Joey. And Joey, you have experience not just from the decentralized part of the world, but also from traditional finance. You started your career with JP Morgan Chase. You have always been in TradeFi, and then you moved on to OKX Ventures. But as KJ just mentioned, even OKX is a centralized exchange. And in fact, if I'm not wrong, probably the biggest exchange when it comes to derivative tradings. OKX is also the second largest exchange across the globe. So with your experience, especially for the people who are listening in, anyone in there who goes to the stock market, let's say every day today, and they are trading stocks, what would be your advice to them? Or if you are talking to a trader who is listening in, how do you say they could start their journey in the world of trading in Web3, be it on centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange?
Yeah, first of all, I want to clarify that any said today will not consider it as any of the financial advices. Just like, pure sharing and just share some of the thoughts and ideas that I have since I got into the crypto. And yeah, definitely when I run into this rabbit hole, I got very different second opinions, especially from the trade guy, the TradeFi pals, they were are you out of your mind? You got a secure job in JP Morgan, you got to keep it, you got to just, keep fight it. And until one of the days you may, get into some high executive levels and, that's it. I was well, that's not the life I want. And just, if you didn't see the, big, potential of Web3, that's, that's your loss. I didn't, really make a hard decision when I transitioned from the TradeFi, and luckily I got into OKX, as you said. It was a pretty good journey for almost 4 years, going back and forth here, Hong Kong, Singapore, and other places. Not only for investments, but finding those brokers, market makers. Sometimes we're going to also be responsible for the retail users' growth. Doing a lot of perspectives and job duties over the 4 years. And I think I've been seeing so many people that they made a fortune in the first place. They didn't hold it in the very last. Same things happen over and again in the history. If you take, into U.S. stocks as an example, you see many of the, funding managers, they probably can, have more, profits than, let's see, for example, Warren Buffett and the Berkshire company, almost 2 or 3 years, if you give some of the credits to the excellent, those funding managers back then. But you see what happens? They didn't last. They made some mistakes, and they did some hedge funds that they were not supposed to, bet money on, and they disappeared over the years. I think for the first thing in the industry, in terms of whatever trading you want to do, centralized, decentralized, NFTs, any of the investments, you gotta ask one thing. If you had to ask one thing: what if I lost all the money I'm gonna invest? And if you can take the hit, if God forbid that happens, and then you pull the trigger. So don't go all in. Don't invest all of your money. Don't bet your house. Don't, bet all of your savings. If you have the family to raise, if you, have something in the future plan to do, that, just please reserve the money and only invest in the money that you afford to be lost. And, to make sure that all the money that you invest can have a good return in the future, I think you have to do your research by yourself. Don't listen to the. I hate this, but I may offend to some of the speakers, the listeners. Here and there. It's just I respect other opinions. Those KOLs, influencers. I think they just want their followers to make the right decisions, but it's just at the end of the day, it is you who has to be responsible for your own money. And so when you make a decision to like do some like day trade or some long investments, some early deals, even those you give the money to those people you trust in your lifetime, you still need to ask you this one thing. And also, I think doing a research doesn't mean that like just by yourself. There are so many tools, resources, platforms, like all of the newsletters you can rely on. Just don't like make a decision because you just like did one day research and then you thought, okay, this is it. I'm gonna do it. Well, it's not like that. And if you are talking about like this assets management, you don't want to put all of your money either into too risky areas or just like putting into the bank, right? You're gonna like make very reasonable portions. Maybe 20% to the risk, 20% other of your assets going to some like real estates or whatever, and some of like 20 or 30% to your friends. You want to do some LPs, and it's some other of the money you invest. You want to do some day trade just to see if you really got it. But seeing this, like I always see like the personal day traders cannot outperform with those professional teams. Like they are execute without emotions. They are. I don't want to see like working out of robots, but I'm saying they do what they has to do. Either cut the loss or make the profits. Either leverage 100 times, or whatever decisions they want to make. They run as what they have decided in the first place. They run as the strategies they make. Of course, the strategies change over time, but I'm just saying like the human nature is something you don't want to touch and you don't want to just test out.
Got it. So, Joey, I think that was a packed 5 minutes, and we didn't just talk about a lot of terms from decentralized exchange or trading, but also just the traditional finance world, right? We are talking about leveraging 100x and really taking some risky bets here. So, just to summarize something that some of the key points that Joey touched on, we have the phrase, don't put all your eggs into one basket. And unfortunately, I believe that cryptocurrency, yes, even though it has the term currency, we don't go and use it as a currency. We don't walk up to the grocery store today to buy with crypto. We will get there, but we are not there yet. And everyone looks at cryptocurrencies as a high-risk asset investment class. So like Joey was saying, right, when you are diversifying your portfolio, definitely don't want 100% of your net worth invested into a single high-risk asset class. You want to diversify it. You put some in real estate. You put some in your friends and family, right? You bet on their businesses, and then you take some of it. And what Joey mentioned here was you take money that you think you are okay losing and put that into crypto. But also it's important that you understand the market. So what Joey said, and I know we spoke about influencers here, in the world of crypto, with regulations being very murky, unfortunately, most of the times, the mainstream news will not talk about the more successful projects. So you hear about them from influencers. However, I will reiterate on the word of caution that Joey put out right now. Don't just follow the hype. And we see these cycles come up. Recently, there was a huge hype around Pepe, a meme coin. And the meme coin hype, the last time we saw that, we saw Doge and Shiba Inu turn into behemoths and giants by themselves. However, they are obviously significantly down from their all-time highs. And now we saw Pepe, and with Pepe, we saw another flurry of meme coins just flooding the market. The thing, though, is most of the times when an average Joe hears about the meme coin, it has already gotten to a point where people are going to start exiting their investment into that meme coin. So for most of the folks, if you're not getting in really early, by the time you hear about it, what you are doing when you're buying that coin is you are becoming the exit liquidity for all of the early investors, which is why it's very important what Joey said. Don't just do your research for an hour or for one day. Like suddenly you see a meme coin trending on Twitter and you see it trending for a couple of days and then you're like, oh, I need to put all my money onto this meme coin. Please don't do that. And yes, obviously, again, reiterating the first cautionary disclaimer that Joey put out. This is not necessarily financial advice. The reason why we mentioned that is because we want people to go and do their own research. And yes, we are not financial advisors. So on any side of the spectrum, we cannot give out financial advice. However, we can talk to our experiences, what we have seen. And with that being said, KJ, I am going to come to you because, you have come into the world of Web3 from a traditional VC firm. You were affiliated, you are affiliated with Honest Capital. And in a way, when you're investing in Web3 companies, it's the same, right? You're making some risky moves. So from your perspective, how did this journey come about? So moving from Web 2 companies to Web 3 companies, and despite the crypto winter, you're still investing in Web 3 companies. So what is that true potential? I know we spoke about that everyday use case, but just beyond that, where do you think Web3's or decentralization's true prowess really lies that made you transition from the traditional Web 2 world to Web 3 world? Is it just the money aspect of it, or is it something larger than that? I would love to hear your perspective.
Right. So, like you mentioned, I came from, Honest Capital, which is a traditional Web 2 early stage fund, also based in the Valley. And since like 2017, I was like obsessed with Web 3, and I always wanted to, Web 3 investments. For now, compare my Web 2 investment experience or my Web 3 investment experience. I think that basically the same, looking into the team, the traction, product, and eventually invest in money and my time and resources, help them to grow. Back to the question, say the use case is a thing, and what I really believe is the decentralization. There's many good things about blockchain, but the one thing I really care about is the decentralization. So some people, very native people, are gonna say, okay, decentralization all the way, right? Like nothing should be tracked, nothing should be regulated. We are like free people, free money, free organization. Yes and wrong. I mean, I'm a big believer of decentralization, but I still feel there's like gonna be some level of the regulation and some level of the centralization, like mixed in the decentralization, just like AI, just like self-driving cars, just like whatever things we see today, right? Or like Coke Zero, right? You cannot drink Coke Zero every day, even we love Coke, and even that's like zero sugar. So I think it's gonna be some level of decentralization. So right now we have a couple of problems, say traditional old Web 2 problems, say we cannot transfer wire money during the weekends. The bank gonna charge us the bank fees, things like that. That's my money. I need to transfer it, and I don't want to get charged. Those things can, get killed, by blockchain. And some money we should get decentralized, but some money should not be decentralized. So I think if I look in the near future, the next 3 to 5 years, I definitely gonna see more and more decentralization come to our life. Not just Web 3, actually Web 2. The apps, everyday life, use cases, work, financial, you're gonna see more. I guarantee that.
I love hearing that from you, KJ, that you are a true believer of decentralization, right? And as you said, even I personally believe that decentralization isn't the answer to all the problems. There have to be instances where knowledge, data, transactions are centralized. For example, government bodies, when we see them working, governments are not going to necessarily put all of their military data or whatnot onto decentralized platforms, right, where it's fully transparent, everything can be tracked, because it is putting the security of an entire nation at risk if you do that. However, on the other hand, probably perhaps cities when they have the votes going on, right? Or if they have the funds being distributed, like information that is already public, that information could then be on chain. It also makes it very easy for distribution, and the validation becomes much easier as well when you are looking at information on decentralized exchanges. More importantly, though, in the past 2 decades with the augment of internet, we are talking about Web 3 here. The past 2 decades have been Web 2, right? When we look at Web 1, for example, Web 1 was where all the information was static. And also Web 1 was pretty decentralized because people would contribute to the information, people would consume the information, and that was about it. Web 2 is where the dynamism started, and we started having these dynamic apps and dynamic data sources show up. The web applications come up. However, the past 2 decades have resulted in huge centralized conglomerates being formed. So today, if we look at the stock market, for example, right, I feel like the stock market is hardly decentralized because 70% of the entire stock market net worth is actually vested in just the top 5 companies. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of companies that make up the stock market. Yet the entire stock market is sort of sitting on the back of the 5 big behemoths, right? Now, that kind of power, those kind of riches can actually be distributed amongst the community members. So I love the notion of decentralization really helping bridge the gap between in the society that we see from not just, the gaps between the rich and the poor, but we are also talking about demographic gaps, about gaps in gender, and, using decentralization as a way to just let people easily access opportunities, access information, and be able to participate in free trades. That being said, Joey, with Langrenus Fund, right, you have been now investing in, as you said, your thesis is also around GameFi. It's around getting more infrastructure being built out. I would love to quickly touch upon with both of you to talk about GameFi, because that's something that we don't talk as much. A lot of the times when people think about games, they might not realize what a big industry it is. But every person who has played Candy Crush Saga or played Need for Speed or Counter-Strike anytime in their life could actually associate themselves as being a gamer. And if I'm not wrong, more than 3 billion people in the world identify themselves as a gamer. So when it comes to GameFi, how do you see Web3 transforming the traditional gaming industries? Because we do see some resistance from those industries as well for people coming over. And it could be attributed to some bad plays with play to earn. But I see so many investors still betting on GameFi. How do you see Web3 really transforming GameFi?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that is a question about our investment thesis. We don't want to just call it a GameFi because it's more like just P2E. We would like to call it either Web3 games or like games or crypto games in a way, but more like Web3 games. It's just like
Joey, would you talk about the difference? Because I think you've made a great point, but just for the audience to understand, GameFi versus Web3 games, what is the difference here?
Yeah, so in most cases, people refer GameFi like you either play to earn the tokens. So it's like almost like work. You do things and you earn money. The difference is only like you play the games. So those games are not that fun. And in terms of quality, the UI UX, basically every aspects. And the Web3 games could be in a way that you build some of the games on chains. For example, there are many gaming assets would exist in NFTs, and those NFTs they're being like on chain. So like as I think everybody knows Vitalik, right? The one of the reasons he started this Ethereum Foundation was that he wasn't happy about the one centralized game he played, and the assets actually he earned didn't belong to himself when the games ended in a way, or they just decided to change the games one way or another. He lose the last assets that should belong to him.
So just to clarify here, so Vitalik Buterin, for people who don't know him, which outside of the Web3 world, there are people who might not know who Vitalik is, but Vitalik Buterin is the founder of the second largest cryptocurrency in the world by market cap, Ethereum. And when Ethereum was launched, the one way it saw adoption skyrocket was because it also introduced smart contracts. So Bitcoin was just supposed to be a cryptocurrency, and as we know, a currency is a transactional store of value. But Ethereum allowed people to actually build decentralized applications on a decentralized chain, and that is how Web3 even started. I think we could say that. So Vitalik Buterin here, I actually did not know the story that he started Ethereum because he wasn't happy that his own assets didn't belong to him. But for anyone in the gaming, anyone who plays any games, right, what we're talking about here is when you make an in-game purchase. So let's say you are playing Counter-Strike or any of the role-playing games, you buy a new skin for your character or you buy weapons in the game. Those do not truly belong to you. You pay for those assets, but then tomorrow if the game developers decide not to just shut down the platform or not to honor those assets anymore or change the functionality of that, you don't really have any say in it. So that's what, when we are talking about ownership, that's what we're talking about, that even though you have paid for it, you don't really own it because the assets still belong in-game and they belong to the game devs than belonging to you. All right, Joey, sorry for that interruption, but I just wanted to clarify it for the sake of the audience. So,
yes, thank you for the idea. I think that definitely gives people who are not familiar with Web3 a better perspective about our industry. And also, I think we're talking about the same thing with whole decentralizations. This is one of the real user cases that even in games, you got to protect your assets. So when you build some Web3 games, your assets would always belong to you. You don't lose your private key, all that. So I'm just saying, all the assets belong to you. That could be a real game changer. I personally know some of the gaming studios are embrace their arms to the crypto blockchain. They're working on some of the games that probably launch either next year or the year after. It's a long-term build, and I personally would pretty bullish on the Web3 games, not necessarily GameFi. And talking about infrastructure, we got some early allocation from the Neo and also Ontology. Those are the layer ones back in 2018, and I think definitely there could be some layer ones coming up, in the next 4-year circle, not necessarily the move languages ones, although I fully respect those. But right now, definitely everybody's talking about the EVMs. I'm a big Ether guy myself as well. And we can talking about the interface. I think the whole crypto and blockchain, this decentralized culture is yet to be developed. We only been doing this for 10 years, after the Bitcoin and Satoshi, And if you're talking about artificial intelligence, it's being existed since the 1960s, and the GPT is definitely one of the killer application we see, iPhone moment, and we would love to see some killer applications in crypto and blockchain in the future that could also be the iPhone moment. So we just love to be on this journey and to be very excited to work closely with these founders.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that perspective, Joey. KJ, coming back to you, you spoke about being excited with SocialFi, right? And we have obviously seen an entire economy being created, the creator economy as we call it, built on the back of the introduction of social media platforms. So social media platforms that were just meant to be a fun way for people to connect resulted in the creation of an entire new economic segment, the creator economy. However, even within the creator economy, we have seen a lot of cases of creators not getting their due respect and getting their money's worth. They are the ones creating the content. In this recent case where Twitch tried to, again, strong hand their creators, they were trying to ask the creators to literally not do any sponsored ads outside of the Twitch platform, right? And we know creators make a lot of money from direct promotions where 100% of it goes to them. None of it goes to the platform. This time, the creators were able to fight back. But it goes back to the same thing. What if Twitch suddenly shuts down their account? And the same goes for YouTube. The same goes for Facebook, Twitter. And we have seen Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, these companies shut down the accounts of creators, and especially the micro-influencers who are unable to do anything to even get that back, and they have to restart their journey again. SocialFi, decentralization backing social media. How do you think will that be a game changer for this entire economy that we are talking about? Even the creator economy is expected to grow at an annual compounded growth rate of I think it's like 30 to 100% a year, and by 2030 it would be a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. How do you see Web3 transforming this experience for creators as well as the consumers?
Yeah, totally. So actually, when I see SocialFi and GameFi, I see pretty much the same thing. So they actually provide two strong benefits to the crowd, to the community. Say the first thing is the ownership. So no matter you're a creator or you're a gamer, you're a user, right? So you own the information. It's not just information, it's like your digital assets, your credential, and all the information, you own it. So the ownership is very important. So that's the first thing can, SocialFi and GameFi provide to the public. And the second thing is the incentive. Tokenomic is amazing. So for the creators, they can earn tokens. The followers, they have ways to earn tokens. The game publisher, they can earn tokens, and the gamers can earn tokens. So I don't want to go too deep in this tokenomics, but if you have the right people, right team, have a right goal, that's very important. You have a right goal, you can definitely build a very successful and efficient tokenomics to make everybody happy in this in this company. So I want to bring an example to explain what I just said. So for example, my phone number is 1234, right? I'm using ATT. And the next day, I feel Verizon has a better plan. I want to go with Verizon. Do I have to cancel my number and lose all the contact with my friends? I mean, 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, you have to do that. But right now, you don't have to. You can just carry the number to the next service provider, right? Imagine this. It's just like SocialFi and GameFi. Say, I have all my information, all the followers on Twitter. And today, I suddenly decide I don't want to use Twitter. I want to use Twitch. I want to use something Discord, right? I can immediately transfer all my assets and all my information connection from Twitter to Discord because you own the assets. And I want to mention name, the Blue Sky. Blue Sky is the Web3 version of the Twitter. Please check it out. It's an amazing platform.
And it is created by the creator of Twitter. It is launched by Jack Dorsey.
Yes. I was so blessed. I got one invitation code from my friend. So
I'm still waiting for one.
Oh, yes. I'm officially on the Blue Sky. I probably want to send my Blue Sky tweet about this on-air thing, today. It's amazing. Silicon Dreams. So let's back to topic. Say the GameFi, the same thing, right? So you can carry all your NFT assets from one platform to the other platform, play the different game or launch a different game. So this is amazing. And also, there's another good news I'm reading recently, say the ERC 6551. So it's a proposal to upgrade the Ethereum mainnet. So actually, make you have the dynamic NFT to carry over the assets, the tokens. So eventually, this whole upgrade is not done yet. It's just a proposal. If this comes true, landed on ground, we can imagine it's gonna totally disrupt the wallet industry, gaming industry, token industry, NFT industry, everything, because eventually my NFT is not just like a cute picture I can put on my profile. Actually, it's a wallet. You can everything connect to the NFT. But, back to the topic. The ownership is important and incentive is important.
Thank you, KJ. And with that, we have come to an end of this segment of the Silicon Dreams. And it's a top of the hour, so we need to wrap up here in just the next 5 seconds. But what I want to do is thank Joey and KJ for joining us today on another episode of the Silicon Dreams. And guys, again, we spoke about Web3, we spoke about investments. So do your own research. Make sure you're not putting all your eggs in the same basket. Look at the trends of GameFi, SocialFi, and start exploring Web3. And with that, I want to say bye to all the audiences of the Silicon Dreams on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM. This is your show host, Soniya Ahuja, founder of Orbis 86, signing off until next Monday.